Welcome to a free tip of the week brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. In today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to set up a form with a subform so that you can have multiple related records with your form. Now, if you haven't yet watched my tip on making relational tables, go to my website right now, AccessLearningZone.com/tips, and find the free tip tutorial called Making Relational Tables. Here's my tips and tricks page. Scroll down till you find the Making Relational Tables tutorial. And this tutorial will cover exactly what relational tables are, and we'll talk about proper table relationships and something called normalizing your data. If you don't understand this primary foreign key relationship, then you might have a little trouble with this tutorial. Now, you can apply the technique I'm going to show you in this lesson to pretty much any two things that relate together. For example, students and what courses they're taking, or patients and what medications they're on, or customers and their list of orders, or products and the vendors that you buy them from. Any kind of one-to-many relationship, this will work just fine. So I'll start off with a blank database. I'm using Access 2007, but you can use 2000 or 03 or any of the previous versions. This will be my SubForm database, which you can call it whatever you want. I'll start off by creating a table. I'll click Table Design. And I want a table, first of all, for my students. So I'll start off with Student ID. That'll be my auto number for this table. And then the student name, text. And you can include address and phone number, first name, last name, all that stuff, whatever you want to put in here. I'll save it. This will be my student table. And Access yells because I have no primary key defined. I'll say yes. It'll put the little key there. So that's my primary key. And I'll put some data in this table real quick in my student name table. Let's just put in here Mark and Sue and Joe and Bill. And that's good enough for now. I'll close that table and create a new table. This table is going to store the courses that each of these students are taking. So we'll start off with the ID for this table is going to be course ID, and that'll be the auto number for this table. The course name, which will make text, that'll be like English 101 or Math 102, right? Then we need to know which student, so we'll say student ID, right? That's the foreign key for this table. It relates back to the student. And any other information you might want to have in here, like notes, or the date, time of enrollment, that kind of stuff. Whatever you want to put in here, that's fine. Let's save this table. This will be my course T. Again, it yells at me about the primary key. I almost always forget to do that. That's when you click this primary key field here and hit the primary key button. I almost always let Access do that for me. It just finds the first auto number. All right. Let's save this table and close it. I'm not going to put any sample data in that one for now. Now let's create our forms. Click on Student T, and then click on Create, and then Form. That'll automatically make a form for you for the Student T. You get the student ID and the student name and this little header information up top here. I'm going to go to Design View. I'm going to get rid of this stuff up top here. It's wasting some space on my screen, and just slide that detail section up just to keep things from getting cluttered. All right, student name doesn't need to be that big. Okay, now I'm going to grab this form footer section and drag it down so I've got some extra room in here. Now to make the subform, there's a wizard for this. So up here in the controls, or in the control panel if you have the Access 2003 version or 2000, you have a little toolbox where your controls are. Make sure your wizards are turned on, the control wizards, and find the subform control right here. Click on that, and then draw a box down here where you want your subform to go. Now the wizard should start right up. And the first step of the wizard says, do you want to use an existing form or an existing table? Well, we don't have any other forms. We'll let the wizard build it for us. So I'll say use existing tables and queries. Next. Which other table do you want to use for your data? Well, the main form is students, so courses, course T, is going to be the subform. Which fields do you want to bring over into your subform? Well, let's bring them all over. All right, next. Next, it wants to know the relationship between the two tables. And Access is pretty good at defining this relationship for you if you've named your fields right. And here it says show course T for each record in student T using student ID. See, since we have a student ID field in both of those tables, it related them together. And it will automatically make that relationship for you as long as your fields are named the same thing. I'll hit next, give it a name. I'll call this my course subform F, and then finish. All right, now here's my subform down here inside of the main form. It gives me a little label there. I'm just going to click and delete that label and then slide the subform over a little bit and then just kind of compress some of this stuff to save space. Let's save this. All right, the main form is going to be my student F. I like to end all my forms in F. It automatically saved the course subform down here. Let's take a look at it now in form view and see what we've got. All right, here's student 1 Mark. We got course name. I'm just going to resize some of these columns because they're pretty big. The student ID, the notes, the date time, and down here we'd simply put in whatever courses Mark is taking. Let's say he's taking English 101, all right, and you could put a date time in here of, I don't know, 1109. All right, his next course, notice the student ID is populated automatically because of the relationship that the wizard set up. All right, let's say he's taking Math 102, all right, on 2109 or whatever, right? Computer Science 101, and so on. All right, let's go to the next student. Now notice you've got two sets of navigation buttons down here. This one is for the subform. This one is for the main student form. There's Sue. All right, Sue is taking Art 101, Philosophy 101, and Science 101, let's say. All right, let's go to the next student. All right, Joe's taking Astronomy 301. Okay, now if I go back through my records here, my students, you can see it's saved all of their course information. And that's how you set up a form-subform relationship. If you'd like to learn more about form-subform relationships, I cover more in my Access 202 class, which deals specifically with setting up subforms. Here you can see a subform we set up to store contacts for each customer in our database. And in Access 301, we actually build an order entry system where we have an order, we pick a customer from a drop-down, and then we enter all the line items, the parts and such. To learn more about Access forms and subforms, or any other topic about Access, come to my website at accesslearningzone.com and make sure to stop by the free tips and tricks section. Attention YouTube viewers, if you stop by accesslearningzone.com/YouTube, you'll get a huge discount on any of my full tutorials, and you can watch a full free copy of my full 90-minute long